Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We could have roll, please, Ray.
Offerling.
Here.
Morton. Here. Butterfield.
Here.
Handback.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Spar.
Here.
Warren.
Here. Everybody's had a chance to look at last month's minutes. If there's no amendments, I hear a motion for approval.
I so move.
Second.
Voice roll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Passed.
Before we start tonight, council's going to read just a short statement on the zoning board.
Thank you. Public hearing is being held tonight pursuant to published notice. Any person wishing to address the zoning board will be sworn in by our court reporter and will give their testimony under oath or affirmation. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the zoning board will make its determination. 4 yes votes are required to obtain their approval. The purpose of the public hearing is for the zoning board to hear testimony regarding whether the proposed variance meets with the required legal standards for the variance to be issued. Relevant factors for the zoning board to consider are set by state law and by village code. Those include whether a hardship exists which is not caused by the owner and which is unique to the property. Testimony offered should be limited to the relevant factors. Rules of order govern the conduct of tonight's public hearing. No one should speak unless and until recognized by the chair, and any speakers should follow the directions of our chair.
Thank you. Okay, our first case tonight is number 18-05. Veronica Smirkowski is seeking a variance for the property located at 310 East Monroe Street. The petitioner seeks a variance from ordinance number 78-31 relative to setback requirements. The new property line will be 2 foot from the side of the garage, resulting in a variance of 3'3". Veronica, could you step up and Arlene can swear you in, and you can step up to the podium and give your statement.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. I'll do that. You already got them?
Take a look at what you have.
Yes.
I'm not sure what all you have here.
Yeah.
I don't need one, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
This is a better picture.
Basically, I want to say I've lived here for 25 years and at 310 East Monroe, and I've never had any problems. Now, since there's a new fence, I have mowing problems, shoveling, snow problems, and edging. I can't get to the side of the garage. Basically, I've been deprived my ownership of my home. And I am seeking a variance tonight. Hopefully it's enough to open the car door and live like everybody else in their home. So I don't know if all the pictures you're kind of able to see what it is. Basically the fence, it was a chain link fence and now it's a wooden fence. And it's brought a lot of problems.
So is this fence that's 2 foot off this wood one, that'll be on the lot line then, the new?
Hopefully not. Is it, Roger?
Well, that's going to have to be surveyed. I mean, they haven't set that line yet,
Oh, okay.
you know, but it will be, what they're talking about is 2 foot off that garage.
Okay.
Where the line will be.
Because the current line is actually.
The current line is like in this picture here, that dark line you see, that's kind of representative of where the actual lot line is now.
Oh. That's huge.
And I did not know that. So then we had to get adverse possession and go through the whole 9 yards. But I don't know if it's between the town's problem or who found it on the map, but this is from way back.
I think whoever built the garage wasn't measuring too good. Or couldn't measure.
So by asking for the variance, you're seeking the neighbor to take down the fence then? Is that correct?
The fence will, with the variance, the fence will have to come down, and hopefully I like the wood fence and everything, but hopefully it sits back a little bit because of right there where the garage and the house is, you can't get out of the car. 2 people can't get out at the same time. When you shovel, you can't put anything there. I can't put any snow on the other side of the house because then I get water in the basement. I've lived there for 25 years. I can deal with some changes, but this is kind of ridiculous. So,
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, I just want
No.
to make sure we're steering down the right course.
Right.
So it's my understanding there's a private civil dispute between your neighbor on where that lot line falls, and really the village has no stake or interest
Right.
in where that is, except
Right.
for the purpose of granting the variance because of the
Right.
proximity of the garage to the lot line, which has been proposed in a resolution which is suggested or in
Right.
progress between you and your neighbor.
I was told that I had to go through this process,
That's
and then the 2 lawyers will get back. This is the only time Roger could get me in, so that's where this
Yeah,
fell.
I just want to make sure, for your understanding and for the board's understanding, that where that lot line is and how close it is and all that, our involvement is solely for the purpose of saying what the parties have proposed as resolution. It can't happen unless and until you approve the lot line being there, because it doesn't meet our normal setback.
Well, nobody has come to a decision on that yet. This is the only time that Roger could get me to come through to do this, so that's where,
I understand. I just want to be clear that the village isn't in a beyond considering this specific request.
Right.
We're not in a position to say we want the lot line to be 3.8 feet from the garage or 1 feet, and I understand you have processes to work out after this. I just wanted to be clear on the relevance of some of the issues that you've experienced, the practical side with what's actually before the board.
Okay. With that, does anybody in the audience wish to comment to this case tonight? Does anybody want to step up and say anything, or you can just be sworn in and you want to just give a brief?
Oh, were we supposed to split the $175?
Any member of the public who's present has the opportunity to be here to testify.
Yeah, anybody that's within that who was
250
notified
foot
can
range.
come in and, yeah. Veronica, if you just want to step back, I'll have this gentleman come up and be sworn in, and you can just state your name and address.
Maxwell Johnson, 316 East Monroe Street.
Okay, Arlene will swear you in here, and then,
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Have you got it?
Hello. Yeah, we're the property owners of the fence. So I'm just looking for clarification. I'm not really looking to make a statement. So this fence is exactly where it's always been. It was a wood fence placed directly where a chain link fence existed for 2 prior owners. So this wouldn't have anything to do with removal of the physical fence. This is just a variance for clearing variance off of the structure, correct?
The request before us is to approve a lot line that would be within 2 feet of the structure.
yeah, so it'd be 2 foot off that garage, it'd be the new.
Got it.
But
Okay.
I think what he's saying is, yes, a fence can be on a lot line, so that fence can
Yeah,
technically be there, so.
the purpose of this proceeding is not an adjudication of whether the fence is or is not in the right spot, or it's nothing about the fence.
Understandable.
I mean, it may be a factor that the zoning board members consider when they make their decision, but this case is not substantively related to the fence. It's related to where the new property line will be.
Establishing.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that was my question. Thank
Okay,
you very
well,
much.
appreciate it.
So is the new
Veronica,
fence,
you want to just step up the podium again? Please, thanks.
so is this new fence 2 foot off
the garage, the new wood one?
Well, they say they put it in the same spot, but I never had problems 25 years ago, and that's how long I've lived there. And now I have a problem, and they're not, I mean, when you measure it, it's not even 2 foot.
So what is it?
Yeah, what is it?
It doesn't even come past 2 feet. So, I mean, I can get 1 foot in there. That's it.
Has anyone measured this fence to see how far over or whatever the 2 feet is?
Roger, have you?
I have not.
Vivian Hageman has. And she's not here tonight.
Right.
Distance
here, right? That's what I'm
Has
getting.
You
Kara-
wanna-
Yes.
Another comment? Oh,
She
you,
needs to.
you can, to say this, you're gonna have to be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
If you want to just step up the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Kara Johnson. I live at 316 East Monroe Street, the brick house that you had seen in the photo. We've measured off of like where the corner of the fence is, off of the garage. So if you're looking at this picture, it would be right below where the E is on property line at that corner
Yeah.
section. That is 2 feet 6 inches from Vicky's garage to that corner post.
Have you guys measured this one? Did you ever measure that? I didn't, I was, just for, yeah, kind of what you marked want, yeah.
I'm sorry,
I
actually,
guess if-
right at the edge of the garage, so where it comes in, so not the corner there, but the corner where it comes to the very front of the garage.
Yeah.
That is 2 feet 6 inches.
Okay. So pretty much this fence is 2 foot? Is that what
Well,
we're getting off?
And frankly, and it's certainly up to you guys individually to consider factors you deem relevant. If we approve the property line at 2 feet off the garage, that fence could be on the property line or further back. If there's an encroachment or violation of that property line caused by the fence, then that's another civil matter which they can handle, or if it crosses, if it crosses the property line. I would assume when they have the surveyor set a new property line, the surveyor would verify the location of the fence as it compares to the lot line, but that again is a part of the civil resolution of their dispute. So I'm not sure the present location of the fence is material to the request as to whether or not they should be permitted to set the lot line 2 feet off the north side of the garage. Respectfully.
I just don't want to create another hardship.
We won't be.
We won't be, okay, okay.
I have one question, because I've seen where some fences cannot be on the property line, they have to be set in a
Correct.
certain amount of inches.
This is one that could be on the line.
It can be, okay.
So then probably the only piece of the fence, in the assumption we would do this, is that small little section that goes to
Connecting
the
to the
corner
garage.
of the garage.
That might be a little bit less than 2 foot. Yeah.
I thought we would be doing this after the survey and everything, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Surveyor's gonna correct the whole issue, I would assume.
Hey, Roger, are they just basing this off of the GISs? I mean, obviously, you can tell looking at it that lot line
This is
off.
just an example, and I just picked that spot. I said it's 2 foot.
Okay.
Because that's what they're negotiating. And if they, it sounds like have agreed to that.
We haven't agreed to anything
Yeah.
yet.
So-
Go back September 19th.
Here's my question, I guess, and I apologize, but I'm confused as if this is a question for Patrick. I don't understand if they're trying to work this. I get that it's a civil case, but why would they not work that out? Why are we voting on something prior to them? I mean, if we grant it, why are they not?
Well, in a perfect world, everything would be agreed upon. I presume, and I don't know this, I can't speak to their civil case, sometimes people like to have this in line before they spend the money on the survey and the drawings and things. But in a perfect world, yes, this would be agreed on beforehand. Any approval of this you know, they have to implement it with deeds, they have to implement it with the survey, so your approval in the absence of their implementation of that is.
I understand that.
essentially moot.
Do they both have legal counsel?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been going on we're going on 4 years.
On 4 years.
Yeah, and.
How long has that fence been there?
We haven't even lived here for 4 years. We haven't even lived here for 3 years.
I'm sorry.
You moved in 2015?
It's only 18 though, so it's 3.
It's 3. Depends on when they.
How long
did.
has the wood fence been there? That's my question. Okay.
Oh,
August of 16.
I'm confused now.
I mean, to me, I don't want to be difficult, but I'd rather they work it out on the civil end before I would even agree. Personally, I just don't want to get involved in it. I think that it's a civil matter for the both of you, and hopefully being neighbors that you could come to a reasonable conclusion and work something out. I don't understand, unless I'm just totally missing it. I get in order for them to move forward with litigation one way or the other, but I don't see how that falls on us to say, okay, we'll do this. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not an attorney.
Well, it's certainly within your prerogative to continue it. If you approve it and they don't implement it, you're going to see them back, you know, because I don't think there's a solution out there probably that's even being discussed that would place a property in compliance with our setback requirements.
Because obviously it has to be moved some. I mean, it has to be moved.
I mean, here would be my position on it, and I have a case like this in Peoria, and just this morning, as a matter of fact, that it happened, and I've had 2 of these to where they put the fence up against the garage, which that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, because you can't maintain that. Right, and that's a problem there, and
How it's been going though, and I've had.
You're going to step up to the podium here just so we can hear.
Sorry.
Arlene can hear you.
That's how it was for years, and I always been able to get in there. And these guys have moved in, and they chose not to let me in on that side. So that's where all this stuff is coming from the fence to this. So,
I mean, you have to be able to maintain the garage.
right.
So
If we were gonna vote on this garage, let's just say, because 2 foot is our number for these existing in these older neighborhood.
So that's how you guys came up with two feet, or is there?
What we're talking about is where is that property line? And can you go back to that picture, Roger, that had that line up the driveway?
But that's what they'd
You're
have
saying
to put,
that
make a
that's
new.
where the property line is now.
Right.
So I guess I understood it. What we're trying to figure out is, should we allow that property line to stay where it is, going
don't think it-
straight through the driveway? Isn't that what we're
The
discussing?
request is whether you would grant them permission to move that property line so it's 2 feet off the garage. If, to the extent that the 2 feet came from us, or the magic number there is a product of something somebody got from the village, that number has to be, this board can approve 2 feet. That number ultimately has to come as a part of your private settlement.
Okay.
So the village has no horse in the race as whether it's 2 feet, 4 feet, 3.5 feet, 1 foot,
Okay.
So we
with the
shouldn't-
exception of this proceeding.
So we shouldn't be thinking about the fence or the garage right now.
Just give the 2
We
foot
should
lot
be
setback.
thinking there's a lot line going through this garage and down the middle of the driveway.
Right, so if
Isn't
we give
that-
her a 2 foot, it goes through, they do their court, and if they come up with,
I was told not to park in the driveway or use my garage when the guy came out to survey him, Dan from Millennium. He's the one that did the survey, and he said, I would not park in your garage and I would not park in the driveway because your neighbors own it. And I'm like, I've lived like this for how many years, and now you're telling me this? So then I had to go get adverse possession.
So to your question, the lot line and where it sits now in that picture, I would suggest in your analysis, the existence of that lot line would be your evidence of hardship. Is there a hardship created but if you were to enforce a strict letter of the zoning ordinance, strict letter of the
That was
zoning
my
ordinance
point.
wouldn't allow that to exist or continue.
No matter what, I mean, if the parties can't agree, I have a better understanding of what you're saying now. My opinion is we would go ahead and grant the variance based on the 2 feet, and then they'll just have to pound it out in court. And it's much better, I can tell you, much better to try to come up with an agreement that makes sense. This doesn't make sense at all the way that it is. I will say that much, okay? And you guys are gonna be neighbors. It's not worth it. I would try to work something out that makes sense for the both of you. This does not make sense how it's up against the building. There's no way to maintain it. Whether you wanna give her access, deny her access, it's not worth it. It's a fence. I would say just you guys work it out in litigation and we'll vote how we think we need to vote.
So with that, I'd say we have a motion for 2 feet. Is everybody made their comments? Does anybody else want to make comment? All right, okay.
Okay, so if you guys do 2 feet, and then we go back to our lawyers, the 2 feet sticks, but.
You would have to come back if the number is 2 feet 1 inch,
Okay,
1 feet 11
Okay.
inches. If it's anything other than 2 feet, you have to come back.
okay.
But to be very clear, in case I haven't said this, or I apologize if I'm repeating myself, beyond just this board having to approve any setback less than that set by village code, we have no stake in how you guys resolve this. That's a purely civil matter for you guys to work out. But if it's going to be any setback less than what our code requires, you do have to come here for approval. Tonight, your request was 2 feet. If the board grants that, you have approval to move the line to 2 feet off the garage if you agree. But if you can't agree, or if anything changes in terms of that measurement, you got to come back.
Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion for the, oh, I'm sorry, okay.
I'll make a motion to grant 2 feet for case number 18-05.
Can we state that it's from the garage? I mean, that's what we're shooting at. That way we,
Wasn't that
To move.
what they requested?
Right.
The application.
Yeah, from the side of the
I
garage.
just want the motion to
2 feet,
Okay,
match
as
that.
stated
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the application.
Yep.
Second.
roll please.
Butterfield,
Yes.
Annenbeck,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Opperling,
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
You have your variance. I do hope you guys can figure something out.
You'll be money ahead. I can tell you from experience.
So, yeah, that's the only case we have tonight, but I appreciate everybody showing up. Yeah, thanks, everybody. Roger?
Nothing more.
All right. With that, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
I don't think we had a second.
Second.
Voice roll, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Adjourned.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.